Learning only the theory part is not important for the programming knowledge. So to get the best programming skills, we have to learn more programs and we need to practice the programs also. Today we are doing that. Today we are doing the practices on classes and objects, some inheritance concept and some methods, how can we write the user defined functions, everything. And even I will write some programming in the Python compiler and I will execute the programmings also. We will do all these things today.
Are you ready?
Good morning students, welcome back to our channel Subhashi at the Tech Guide. Today completely we are discussing about programs on OOPS concept, constructors, polymorphism, everything which we have discussed in the previous class about the theory. In this class, you will learn entire programming knowledge regarding the classes and objects, inheritance, polymorphism, everything which we have discussed the theory part in the previous class. Okay? Now without any delay, let us start the class.
As a part of today's class, at first we are going to perform the string operations using some user-defined functions. Just I have took some string methods like string copy, string reverse, and to find the length of a string. Okay, and this program I have used the user-defined functions also. Completely user-defined functions with the string operations. Okay, so that you can be able to understand how can we write the programming of user-defined functions or methods in Python. Okay, and the second program is to find the largest of the n given numbers using in a list and function. That means you take some list of values and in that list of values, we are going to find the largest number in that. Okay. Next one is to demonstrate on some classes and objects. Here I will explain how can we define the classes and how can we define the many objects in a single class. That means many objects for a single class. Okay. Next one is, of course, classes and objects, but with some calculations. In this, we use some date methods, some date predefined methods, and using that methods, we will find the age of a given date of birth. Okay, that means we are doing some calculation, and meanwhile, we are learning the classes and objects concept also. Next program, I'll explain on the single inheritance. After that, I will explain some constructors. And meanwhile, by explaining these constructors, I will give some example of some polymorphism concepts also. Okay. So this is the class about today. Let us start our first program. Our first program is to perform the string operations using some user-defined functions, right? The user-defined function here is def. So we define the user-defined function by means of def in Python. Def, that is definition, and this is our function, that is the user-defined function. This is not a predefined function. So here I am writing the code to find the length of a given string. Further, at first we initialize some counter equals to 0. Next, up to that counter, we will increment everything. Up to that string counter, we will increment every line. So this takes the index of a string. Okay, because string is nothing but a collection of characters, right? That collection of characters, of course, it's nothing but some list. So here we take the individual index and we find as we index move on, we increment the counter. So, and we will return the counter. Like this, we get the length of a string. Next one is string reverse. So for the string reverse, here at first find the length of a string using this user-defined function, and we find the length up to the length greater than 0. That is the length. We will increment, we will move down the string. And this is the concept to print the values in a reverse order of a list. It's nothing but a list of characters, right? So here we are printing the list of character values in the reverse order. Automatically we will get the reverse of a given string. And next one, we are comparing two strings. If just accept two strings and string 1 is equals to string 2, simply we will print both are same. That no change is there. Otherwise, if it is greater than, the string 1 comes after the string 2 in the dictionary. Simply we will print the message. And in the third one, if string 1, that means if it is equal and greater than is completed, nothing but it's less than. So we can write string 1 comes before the string 2. Simply, these are the messages I am going to pass according to the string values. Okay. For this entire the main program will be, at first we print the menu like string length, string reverse and string comparison, because we have defined three functions of string length, reverse and comparison, right? And we ask the user to enter your choice. If n equals to 1, that is, if it is 1, enter a string and we will find the length of a string. Here we are calling the string function which we have defined before. Okay. And again, n equals to 2, again we input one string, and simply here we are calling the reverse of a string. If n equals to 3, here we are making two comparisons of a string. So we need to accept two strings, string 1 and string 2, and this is the function we are calling here. Okay. See, for the three choices, string length and string reverse, string comparison, we have three functions. But if the user gives more than that number, simply we write invalid choice. Okay. And I will execute this program using the Python compiler also. After that, we can go for the next program. If you execute this, you can understand better. So I am executing this program in the Python compiler. Let us go for that.
So this is the program. Now we are executing the program in Python compiler. So as I explained before, same thing I have written here. The first one is string length. So string length definition. That is the user defined function for the string length. Next one is the string reverse. This is all the source code for the string reverse. Now next one is the string comparison. So enter thing as it is, I have explained before, I have written the program in the Python compiler. And this is the code for the string comparison. If the both are same, simply I will write the both strings are same, else after or comes before. Next one is the comes before. Okay, else part. And for the menu driven, in the main console, we will write the menu driven program. This is the part of string comparison. Now let me show the menu driven. At first, print the string functions. So one is string length, number 2 is string reverse, number 3 is the string comparison. Simply I have called this by using the if statement. If anything number more than the 3. So 1 to 3, instead of 1 to 3, if we enter anything, we will get invalid choice. Let us execute the program now. Here I am writing 3. So it is for string comparison. So we need to enter two strings, success and success. I have written success and success. As both are same, our output will be both strings are same. Okay. Now let me show you the invalid choice. If you write the invalid choice, simply it will give the output as invalid choice. Like this, we can execute the program. Okay.
I hope you understand the program very well. Okay. I have executed this program in the Python compiler also, so that you can understand the program very nicely. That in this program, we are executed all the user defined functions. That means how can we define a function? How can we use this function? Okay. The concept of this menu is very important. It gives more effective for our program. So if it is possible, if you are using more functions, you can use this concept of menu-driven programs. Okay, let us go for the next program. In this next program, we are going to discuss about the list. So, find the largest n number of using the list and function. Even here, I am using the user-defined function with a combination of a list. Okay. At first, we define some largest number, because in a given list of numbers, we are going to get the largest number of a given list. Okay. So here, first take the value as the first value of the list. That is the index of the first value of a list as L. Okay. After that, up to the range of n. That means until the end of the index of a list, we need to move on. Here we compare the list I to the L. That is first comparison. After that, if the list I is greater than L, simply the list I will move into the L and we return the L. Like that, finally, you will get all the maximum value, the final maximum value of a given list. Now, this is the main program. Accept the list, initialize the list, empty list. Next, accept the total number of the elements. Yes, we have done. Now, enter the elements one by one. So, we enter all the values. Okay, even I will explain this program in the Python compiler. You can understand well. Now, for I in the range of n, we accept the values by using this concept. Each and every value is appended to the list. Okay. Finally, if we call the list of the function, it moves to the list of the function and it will get ready to give the maximum, that the largest number of a given list. Suppose our list is first 10, 20, 3, suppose 5. The first value will be in the list. So the list of 0 equals to 10. And it will move into the L also. Up to the end of the list, we get the values. And here, if the list of I is greater, that is, if it is the greater, then the L value is automatically shifted. Now, for the second index, it is greater than the taken list, which we have to, okay. So here it moves to the 20. Now, next one is 3, so it won't change. Next one is the 5, it won't change. It will change only if the list is greater than N. Finally, we'll get the largest number of a given list and we will print that list. Okay. Let us explain and let me compile this program in the Python compiler and let us execute this one so that you can understand better. Okay. So as I explained before, I'm executing the program in the Python compiler. Okay. At first, we have to take the user-defined function, that is def of largest, to get the largest number, and the same concept I have used here. Okay. This will execute the largest number and return the largest number to the function. Now the main function will be, at first take the total number of elements and accept the elements. After that, append the elements into a LST, that is our variable, our number. Next, we execute the program here so that we will get the largest number. As I explained in the theory, as it is, I have written the code here, the source code here. Now enter total number of elements. Now enter the values, all the values. See, we can enter values as printed and we get the largest number from the given list of values. So like this, we can execute this program in Python compiler. Okay. So this is the program about to find the largest number from a list and using the user-defined functions. Okay. Let us go for the next programming. I have explained this through the compiler also so that you can understand better. Okay. Next program, I will give only the algorithms and the programs. Not the algorithms, only the programs. Let us explain. Because no need the algorithms. Directly we are writing the program. You can execute the program using the Python compiler. Okay. Write the program and you can directly compile it. Because instead of executing every program, let me explain many programs in this concept. Now let us demonstrate on classes and objects. Okay. For the class, we use the class and here my class is the circle. Okay. I need some mathematical function. So I have imported the math. Okay. Next, define. That is, we are defining. That means here we are not only using the classes, we are defining the user-defined functions also. Because the main definition of the class is nothing but is a collection of methods, that is the functions, and the collection of data members that are the variables. Okay. That's why in this class, I'm writing both user-defined methods and the variables also. Okay. So this is my first method. Here simply I have initialized some self and radius. This is my first method. I am initializing the radius also. This is my second method. Here circle, area of a circle has to be calculated. So return math dot, that is nothing but pi r square. Okay. So this is the formula and this is the way how we write the pi r square. Next, here we calculated some circle of the parameter. So here I am writing return 2 into pi into r. That is circumference of a circle. Okay. Now, this is the main. Here, circle is the object and this circle is the class. We are passing the value here. Okay. This is the class. Area is the variable where we are calling the user-defined function by means of the object. So, circle dot, this is the object, right? Circle dot calculate underscore circle area. So, we are calling this method by means of the object. And simply, we are calling the perimeter also by means of the object. That is circle dot, this is our method. And this is the value. Or we can say it is a normal variable also. Okay. Simply we are printing area and the perimeter of a circle. Now, this is the way how can we write the classes, methods by means of objects. Here you can able to understand that class can be defined by using a predefined keyword called class. Next, objects can be defined like object equals to the class name, whatever you're using the class name. Okay. Next thing is, by to call the methods or the variables of a function or a class, we can write like object dot that method name. Okay. This concept is important to define the classes and objects. Let us do one more programming in this. Here I am writing the programming and meanwhile I am calculating the age of age. Both I'm doing. So we are writing the classes and we are calculating some age also. Okay. For that, I need some parameters like some name. Just for the calculations and for the purpose of execution, I just took like name, some country and some date of birth. Okay. So I have initialized like name, country and the date of birth. This is my first method. And in the previous class, I already said that the first method, while passing the parameters, first one should be the self. Even if you want your own object, you can write that one also. So, but the first one is specially specified for the self. That is for the initializations. Okay, this is must. Next, for the calculation of the age, at first take the today's date minus the date of birth of the year. So this method can be extracted the year of the today's date, and here this is extracted the year of the date of birth. As we take the date of birth as our parameter, so we can change the date of birth according to your necessities. Okay. Next, if today date is less than the date, today date is less than the given date, then only we need to calculate. Otherwise, we can't be able to calculate if the date of birth is greater than the today date. So this is the concept we have used. The simple logic. Now see, here this is one object, another object. Here we need three objects. So one is person 1, second one is the person 2 and next one is the person 3. These are the three objects. This is the class we are defining. As the parameters are the three, first parameter is for the name, second parameter is for the country and the third parameter is for the date of birth. So date of birth, this is the way how we define the date of birth. That is the date in the Python. At first year, next date and next then the month. Okay. So year, comma, month, comma, day. The format of the date in Python. Now, at first print the person 1. The person 1 is the name, next country and the date of birth. Finally, we are calculating the age. Okay. So, we are printing the age also. Next one. And this age is we are calculating by the user defined method. So, no need to pass the age as a parameter. Okay. And the second one also we are printing the name, country, date of birth and the age. Because here we are the values or we can say the parameters or the arguments passed to the user defined function is name, country and the date. That's it. That's why we can use the object for only name, country and the date of birth. Here no need to take the object, but here we are we are accessing or we are calling the method, the user defined method of a class by means of the object. That is important. So in this program, we are calling the variables. All three are the variables and here we are calling the method also by means of the objects and the class. That is the concept in this program. And meanwhile, I have explained how can we calculate the age also. Okay. So this is the parameters passing and this is the method passing. Entire thing is nothing but this we can call as data members, the original definition, the actual definition of the class. And this is the method. So a collection of data members and the member functions or we can say methods is a class. For extracting the variables or the parameters, simply we can pass the variables here as a parameter. But while calling the function or while calling the method, this is the way object name dot method. Okay. So object name dot method name. To call the methods. To call the values, simply object name dot variables. Okay. Now let us go for the next program. Person as a base class. That means here we are deciding the inheritance. I will explain a single inheritance simply. Single inheritance will contain one base class and one derived class. Okay. One base class and next one is one derived class. So we need only 2 classes here. And the base class is also called as parent class. Derived class is called as the child class. At first, we need to define the base class. So my base class is person. Simply I have passed the values like a name and the age. Next, for the derived class, see, first define the class as the employee. This is my derived class. My derived class name is employee, and here I'm directly initializing the parameter of the base class. Okay. Now n, comma, a, comma, and ds are the new parameters of the base class. D means one designation, s is some salary. Okay. And some function. Simply we can accept the values like this. So in Python, to access the inheritance, at first define the base class. This is the base class transit. In the derived class, we write class, the derived class name, and the base class name. Okay. And we can write the function, that is, we can extend the function like the parameters of the base class and the new parameters. These new parameters will belongs to the derived class. Like this, we define a inheritance in the Python. Okay. And this will be continued because the connection between the base class and the derived class will be activated by means of the inheritance concept. Like this, we write the inheritance concept. Okay. So this is all about inheritance. Now let me explain about the constructors. Constructors, basically the constructors means the class name, and if the method names are same, we can call it as a constructors. Okay. But in Python, suppose this is the class name, my person, and here we initialize some name and age. Okay. Self.name equals to name, that is initializing the attribute of the name. Self.age equals to age, simply I have initialized the attribute of the age. Now method to display is display information of the self. Okay. Directly we print the values now. By creating the object of the person, directly we can write the person with the object name and we can pass the values. Now accessing the object method is by means of the object, that is person1 dot the display name. Directly we can write the constructors like this. It's as simple as we are writing the programming. Okay. We are writing the classes and the objects programming. Okay. Suppose if you want to extend this one, we can write the inheritance concept by means of the constructors also. Let me explain about this constructor more. So, initial method is the constructor in the Python and it is automatically called when the object is created. Next, here we are passing the attributes of the constructor like name, age, and the person as an object. Okay. Object creation is directly by means of the class we have created the object and it is executed. Then the constructor is invoked and all the attributes are setted. So this is the way how the constructor will work. Now let me explain about the polymorphism. For the polymorphism, just I made some class calculator. Okay. Here A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1 and I am passing the pointer variables. Now here we are making some simple multiplications. Okay. Up to the number. Now for the calculator, define the object. So create one object. Using the default arguments, we can call multiple times. That is print calculator dot multiply. So at first it will multiply. And we can pass the value calculate dot multiply 4. Okay. For the multiple arguments also we can pass like this. That means we are using the polymorphism concept for the single parameters passing, that is argument passing, even for the multiple argument passings also. Okay. Even though we are defined here or not. That is the important point here. Like this, we can write the polymorphism program. So every program we have discussed about the classes and objects, the polymorphism and some examples of the user-defined function and the constructor. Entire concept is very important to write the further Python programming in advanced levels. Okay. So all this about class today. Thank you.
This is the class about today. In this class, we learned completely programming knowledge of classes, objects, polymorphism, inheritance, and next we have discussed some methods of the strings and even we have executed some programs also. Okay. And I hope you learned something from this video. If you learned something from this video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.